Okay. Now, I'm not going to keep going on like this, but I do want you to see this. I want you to see the name Jesus was derived from Esau. That can be traced back to a sun god worship. Also, the name Zeus, the sky god, had variations of the name Ezeus, Eazom, Eazeus, just as Esu, Asa, Asio, are derived from the Greek word for the healing, Iesius. Okay, here we are. Now let's go to the next one. Real quickly. This is also on the web. You can just go on your online and pull it up yourself at HHTT, whatever that is. I'll let y'all put a pause on it so you can get it. But what it is Iazion. There's another spelling that we just saw. The pre-Homeric pagan Jesus, another name for way to spell Jesus. The mysteries, they're part of the mysteries. Now just keep that in mind. Jesus is part of the mysteries, folks. Here we go. I'm trying to do this quickly. It says, Iazion, leader in chief of the mysteries. So he's the leader and the chief of the mysteries. In fact, by this time, the end of the Roman Republic, it is public knowledge that Iazion is in fact considered the very founder of the mysteries. Okay, let's see this, but I just want you to see that this is in the King James Version of the Holy Bible. And let's see. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Now we're talking about the woman full of abominations of her fornications that's riding this scarlet-colored beast. Mystery Babylon the Great, mother of harlots and abominations of earth. Well, who is she? Who is Mystery Babylon the Great, mother of harlots and abominations of the earth, that's dealing with 7 mountains? Here we go. Here she is. Recognize like a city on her head, plays with a lion, or drives a chariot drawn by a lion. This is going to tie into demons. Ray, hold on. Ray was admittedly no more our great mother than our great love goddess was alone. She's called the Mountain Mother. Do you see that she is Ray? Sun God worship, Sun Ray. We're tying into the sun god, y'all. We're tying in. Yes, Regina?
Remember that thing that came on the email and it was spelled, I think, the same way as you were saying, D-A-E or something, E-M-O-N?
Yeah, daemons or something like that, but it's actually, English for it is demon.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman set upon a scarlet-covered beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. Sorry, baby, she hit her butt, fell on her butt. And decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon. Remember the chief of the mysteries now. Yep. Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. Remember that Demeter was Zeus's wife, but she was also his sister, and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs. And they're saying of Iazius, but we know that everywhere you saw Lord, and they were calling the Messiah L-O-R-D, that was Y-H-W-H. And you also know now that Jesus goes back to I-E-S-U-S, which goes back to Iazius, which goes back to Iazion, and eventually it goes right back to the sun god worship. If you look at the Egyptian hieroglyphs, what you will see is you will see an emblem that they're worshiping of the sun and a serpent beside of it. Everywhere you see the sun god, the sun icon, it's called the sun and serpent icon. It's really the sun and serpent idol. You also see the serpent. There was a serpent in the garden. I don't need to go back to Genesis to tell you about that cunning little old, well, they've called him Old Saint Nick, that old devil. They've called him Lucifer. They've called him Satan. But as I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs, and this would really be Yah, And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore dost thou marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and was not, and shall ascend into the bottomless pit. Jesus never was. The only thing that keeps him alive is you calling out his name. He never was, but he is, and he will ascend into the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, get a load of this, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Well, the problem with that, folks, is that the beast that was and it is not and yet is, that name is not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, and it'll be a name that you'll think should have been.
Right.
He will appear, it says in the Bible, as an angel of light to deceive the very elect, the very chosen, if he could, but he can't deceive them because they're searching the scriptures. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other not yet come. 1 cometh, must continue his space, and the beast that was and is not, even is the 8th, and the 7th goeth into perdition. So now we're talking about the beast. Well, the beast was over here in the Greek myths. The beast was over here in this myth book. The beast is there. The harlot, the mother of abominations of the earth, is there. Okay, but let's go here real quick. Hold on, let me do this. Revelation 17. I'm just following right on down here. I'm at, these have one mind. We're talking about the beast now. The woman that sitteth on the beast, she has 7 mountains. Can you see that in yellow there? There are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Well, Rome sits on 7 mountains. They call it the country of 7 hills. There are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Then it goes on down, the beast that was, that is not. Then it says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. They're going to give their strength and power unto this beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is, and they're saying Lord, but we know everywhere you put Lord, it's that's YHWH, and King of Kings, and they are with him, are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth. They're talking about this woman on the scarlet-colored beast. They're talking about the 7 mountains. They're talking about the Roman Catholic Church. And the multitudes and the nations and the tongues, the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And they're saying God, but hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. And if you go back to what his name means, it's I am that I am. And if you go back even further, from what I understand, I am what I am actually, and if you go back far enough, is I will what I will to be. Okay. And so we got, then at the end here it says, it put in his heart, for God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city. Do you see that? Which reigneth over the kings of the earth. The Roman Catholic Church reigns over the kings of the earth right now, and this is the end time. Let's go back to the 2nd century church. Prepare ye the way of, and this would be YHWH, but they're saying Lord. Mark 1:3 must have meant one thing, since it immediately followed the words at the beginning of the gospel, and they're saying Jesus Christos, or Jesus Christ. But to the first believers, it must have meant something else, since they read prepare the way of YHWH. See right here, if you can start right here. The divine name YHWH was and is the most sacred word in the Hebrew language. And so it is inconceivable that the religious Jews of a sort would have removed it from any of their religious documents. How then did the erasing of the sacred name in the Greek New Testament come about? Just so they'll know what this is. You can go online see if I can see it, to this spot right here. You can pause me to get it. Something about tripod, but it's the name in the New Testament. This is also online. Hold on. George Howard, Associate Professor of Religion at the Hebrew at the University of Georgia, proselytes that the latter Gentile Christians, unlike the original Jewish believers, had a different way about them. And what I'm trying to read from is what he's writing. And Howard goes on to say that these examples are sufficient to suggest that the removal of the Tetragrammaton from the New Testament and its replacement with Greek surrogates blurred the original distinction between Lord God, Lord Christ. In many passages made it impossible to tell which one was meant. This is supported by the fact that in a number of places where the Old Testament quotations are cited, there is a confusion in the manuscript tradition whether to read God or Christ in the discussion surrounding the quotation. Thus, it may be that the removal of the sacred name, get a picture of that, removal of the sacred name contributed significantly to the latter Christological and Trinitarian debates, which plagued the church of the early Christian centuries. See, the original autographs, the original Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John scribed by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were never found. They were Hebrew men who wrote in Hebrew and Aramaic. They were not Greek men who were writing in Greek. And in the beginning, they would not do that because it would defile their scrolls. In regards to this whole issue, Howard poses a number of questions. Among them, as Howard himself summarizes, whatever the case, the removal of the Tetragrammaton probably created a different theological climate from that which existed during the New Testament period of the first century. You never got any stuff from before about 60 A.D. And Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they were already probably, most of them, dead by then, and all of their scrolls and stuff had been either hidden, burned, or destroyed somehow. And we might be on a timeline that may be found like the Dead Sea Scrolls, and when you find them in Hebrew, you'll find the Tetragrammaton in place of the name of the Messiah. The Jewish, and they're saying God, who had always been carefully distinguished from all others by the use of his Hebrew name, lost some of its distinctiveness with the passing of the Tetragrammaton. How much he lost may only be known by the discovery of a first century New Testament in which the name YHWH appears. So it does appear, you just don't see it that much and that often because it was being phased out, just like YHWH is being phased out by Lord, God, Jesus, Christ, all these different terms that have nothing to do with the Tetragrammaton, the original Holy Covenant name of the Creator. And let's go here real quick. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you. Talking about the followers of the Messiah. Delivering you up to the synagogues and the prisons, being brought before kings, rulers, for my name's sake. You see, that's for his name's sake, and you've got capitalized name.